As small business owners, I think we have this little fantasy that we think that the people at big end of town, like the big people in big business, have all their I's dotted and all their T's crossed. And it's just us small business owners with small marketing budgets that seem to have all the worry. Well, my guest on the podcast today is here to tell us that that's a furphy. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to episode 38 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of options out there, and I sincerely appreciate you making me one of them. Today's episode is brought to you by my new downloadable, The Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Facebook Ads. This workbook is full of exercises, tips, and tricks on how to get your first Facebook ad hitting the goals that you need it to. You can download it at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/ads. Facebook ads, they will change your business forever if you can get them right. So go download the book and let's start this journey together. I have to say that I've had a wonderful response and a meaningful response from last week's episode. For what purpose? Clearly it struck a chord with some of you. If you're feeling a little overwhelmed or without clarity with your marketing and you didn't tune in, then maybe head back to episode 37 after you've listened to this one and have a bit of a listen. But this week on the podcast, I have a guest, a special guest. Her name is Alita Rodriguez, and she's from MI Academy. And she's joining me to talk about the future of marketing and what it looks like at the big end of town. See, Ali works in corporate retail. She works with brands like Retail Global, Alfa and Romeo, House of Home, etc., etc. But Ali was actually one of my first business coaches ever. So over 10 years ago, I met Ali, and she really helped me shape my retail business with online strategies. And we've been in contact ever since, watching each other grow and change direction again until we are where we are today. I can't wait for you to hear this episode. But of course, before I head down that rabbit hole, let me do the discovery of the week. And on that, apparently I've been holding out on you. When I went through my spreadsheet of my podcast, which is so I can keep track of subjects and discoveries and things like that, I was absolutely astonished to see I haven't told you about Unsplash. If you've seen me talk, then you know about Unsplash, but I've never actually mentioned it here in this segment. So Unsplash, UNSPLASH.com. It's a fabulous place for free images, and they might be free, but they are also fabulous. So if you need some images for your business, your socials, your website, because you don't have enough, then I recommend that you head to Unsplash. They are free, and all they ask is that you acknowledge the creator of the photo. But that's a pretty small price to pay for the images that are so beautiful and so versatile. So go and have a look. I think you'll be surprised at the quality and the quantity for sure. Of course, just a little disclaimer, my discoveries are just that, and I am in no way affiliated with any of them, but promise to tell you if I ever am. I just really love them. Things like Unsplash I use inside my business, and it helps make my business simpler, which is the idea of the whole podcast. If you have a little discovery and something you'd like to share with me, I would love for you to tag me on social media, and you never know, I might just use it here on the podcast. But let's get into the future of marketing. As I mentioned, Ali was one of my first business coaches, and I've always admired her knowledge and understanding of technology. It's truly her jam. But I also asked Alita to come on because in small business, we think that big business, the big end of town, has it all sorted out, that they don't have the same problems as us, and they have their shiz sorted. But as you'll hear from Ali, that's not exactly true. They have the same issues, they're just bigger and actually harder to solve. So as you're listening along, take solace in knowing that even the big end of town has worries and tech issues. And talking about tech issues, Ali and I talk a lot about the future of business and the future of technology, and I hope you get to have a bit of a laugh at the trouble we have with Siri. You'll know what I mean when you get to that point in the interview. It was quite hilarious, but slightly a pain in the butt. So let's get into it. Let's welcome Alita. Thank you so much, Ali, for coming on today. I am thrilled to have you on the podcast and certainly to get your expertise. I know that you work in, high-level retail and corporate and with really big enterprises. So I think it'll be awesome for my small business owners to hear from you. So welcome, Ali, to the podcast.
Thanks, Jen. So happy to be here. It's really exciting. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. It's been way too long. And I know that you are super busy off to Boston tomorrow and just come back from Sydney. So I really appreciate your time here today with us. Ali, I guess for those people out there that don't know much about you, could you just tell my audience a little bit about what Alita does?
Yeah, sure. So my company is called MI Academy. We've just done a rebrand. We used to be Milk It Academy. So we're very much, that change of name was coming from a scaling perspective and an understanding of, that universal understanding of, what milking it is, which is getting the most out of it, which is, something that we really understand commonly here in Australia. But because we're scaling and we're going global, we've just recently been sponsored into an EY scaling program to take the company global. So, one of those decisions is does Milk It resonate on a global level, and it doesn't. So, MI Academy, which of course, you can interpret as the mission impossible. So, but what we actually, which sometimes, sometimes these things feel like it is, but, it's a lot of fun, like Tom Cruise, he always gets there and gets to the gold and gets what he needs. So, and saves the world. So that's really nice. But what we actually do is customized digital marketing and customer experience training programs. So what we do is application-based training. So unlike an agency who keeps all the knowledge for themselves, or a consultancy that does all the work for you, we create agency cultures or consultancy mindsets internally so that our clients have the capabilities in-house to drive their own strategic direction, drive their own customer experience programs, and have the knowledge and expertise that they need in order to do that. So we're not talking about, sometimes we work with people who have no knowledge in digital marketing or customer experience, but most of the time we're working with people who have a reasonable level of competency, who just want those skills to help them to take on the next transformation that their business is going into. Because, it's really exciting, the phase that we're in retail and in business, is that at the enterprise level, is that everybody's going through their second tech transformation. So it's really exciting to be able to bring those best practice skills, knowledge and ideas in-house to our clients so that they can apply them whilst we're working with them and grow and evolve.
Yeah, look, and the words that you kept saying there were about customer experience and user experience, and that, and I guess I know that you do work at top level retail, and I have small business retailers who do listen to the podcast as well as service based businesses. But it was one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, was to talk about what are they doing. They've got big budgets and big marketing budgets, and can really experiment and perhaps filter down then to us small business owners, and we can kind of know what's working and what's not working, and of course experimenting ourselves, but have some knowledge. So what are they doing in big business that we should be looking at and paying attention to as small business owners as far as the customer experience goes?
It's funny, the bigger the business, the bigger the problems.
Yeah, of course. Amen to that.
Yeah. So it's really funny. So Jen, you did say about experimentation. So one of the things that I always say is that, people come to us, what's the best practice? What's the best practice? And it's like, well, best practice is great and it gives us a guideline, but somebody else's best practice shouldn't be your best practice. You need to find your own best practice, which is super, super important, especially when it comes to testing, because you're only going to be better than what you did yesterday or your best performer yesterday. And you need to take what you learn from that and move that forward. So back to the original question, which is, so what can we learn from enterprise? One of the biggest challenges that enterprise has at the moment is really that speed and agility, and they spend a lot of time in reactive marketing and reactive growth strategies. It's like, well, I just need to get that email marketing out. I just need to get that email out. I just need to get that post out. I just need to get these ads out. I just need to get that campaign out. Or I'm so swamped, send it all over to the agency, and then the agency holds all the data, all the knowledge, and then the market is going, yeah, okay, that was good. And they get fit all of these, what I call like ego metrics a lot of the time. You got heaps of impressions. That's great. But we spent, 40 grand and we didn't get any sales. So
Yes. Yeah.
Help. I think, and this is the great shift that we're in, is that they're understanding more than ever that this reactive marketing needs to stop, and they need to be applying scalable and strategic growth programs that can be automated along the customer's journey, that complement from the first time they go to your site to the 5th and 6th and 7th time that they purchase. So part of that understanding is that capabilities in-house. How do I stop being reactive in my marketing and slow down, think about the customer's journey, and how do I get those capabilities for me to actually deliver a strategic marketing program? So one of the things that's one of the things that's really changing at the top end of town, is that capabilities in-house and that sustainable marketing, because you can't, you get burnout, and we hear about burnout so much. And when you're being reactive a lot, it happens at small business, it happens at service level, and it happens so much at that enterprise level. But we're not just talking about the owner at that point. We're talking about the staff and the employee. So that need to be sustainable and stop being reactive and be really strategic is a big trend and a big change that's happening at the top end of town. So I couldn't recommend it more for small businesses to think about who their customer is and how they want to potentially look at 4 things that they can do over the next 12 months, 1 thing per quarter, to bite off in order to spend some time doing something sustainable for their customers, to appease the amount of effort that they spend in reactive marketing strategies. For example, if you set up a welcome series, just a welcome series, 5 emails that are automated from the first time that you sign up to that list. They are 5 weeks of emails that you don't have to think about, that's going to help to nurture that first-time customer to be that first-time visitor to be a first-time purchaser.
Yeah. And I think probably some of my listeners are either rejoicing or crying right now in that. In that, big business has exactly what you were saying at the very start, bigger business, bigger problems. So to think that the people in big business are still being reactive, just like the small business owners, I know in the workshops that I do, and I did one last night on email marketing, and it was kind of like, I can't put one more thing on my plate. And we were talking about automation, exactly what you just said then. But, to think that the people in big business are also being reactive as opposed to being proactive, I'm not quite sure whether they want to cry or laugh about that. But the reality is, I think, we all have to start being a little bit more proactive, and of course, putting on automation what we can, but of course not over automating as well, that it becomes unhuman.
Yeah, I mean, the important thing there about if you are automating everything is that you do need to have a human approach and have also human escalation points. So something where a computer can't solve it, how do you use that computer to escalate that to a human? That's kind of some of the bot work that we're doing, which is pretty fun, and some of the voice search work that's going on as well, which is super fun as well. But it's this, the bigger the business, the bigger the problems. Just don't beat yourself up about it, but know that you have greater power to make those changes because it is your gig. You can make these changes a lot faster than what a big business can because they have so much bureaucracy. The other thing that I would also say, and something that we're working with our clients on, is the definition of done, not perfect, because you get to make it better all the time.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that. Perfection is a trap. And I know that, some of my clients I work with at the moment, when I listen to this podcast, they'll be thinking I'm talking to them. And I am talking to them, where, you just got to launch that website. It's not going to be perfect. You've got to just put out email one of the sequence, and that will encourage you to write two, because you'll see the open rate and you'll see, hopefully the customers coming in, and it will encourage you to do number two. Let's just start. But one of the things you just said then, which comes back a little bit to, looking at trends and that moving forward, was voice search. And I really think that is something that's going to be very interesting heading into 2020, yet another Christmas where, every time you go into a tech shop, that's all you're going to see is these voice controls of, Google's got one, and Apple's got one, and I'm sure there's lots of other companies.
When Apple decides to work.
Yeah. So what are they doing at the top end of town to sort of think about how that works into their marketing strategy with this whole voice search? So for those of you, perhaps if I haven't been explaining that well enough and you're a bit confused, I mean, like Siri, or what's...
Hey Siri, what are the, all right, now, hey Siri, you can, sorry love, you can just go over there.
Siri went off.
Which is really cool, because sometimes she answers to hey Erica, which is really weird. Okay, so Siri.
So that was a live example Siri, of what we mean.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, hey Siri, what are the movie times at Crown Casino today? What are the films that are showing at Crown Casino today at 6 p.m? And she'll say, hey, Alita, blah, 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 da, 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 and tell me that. And then what we do from there is the real magic, because that's only one voice command. And then you've got that real magic stuff that's going to happen, which is, okay, great. Siri, can you please book me the 6 o'clock to see, what's a movie that's out at the moment? You know what? Hey Siri, can you please book me the 6 o'clock to see Battle Angel Alita at Crown Casino? And there she is doing it right there.
I will have to take a screenshot and put that in the show notes, won't I? That's hilarious. So anyway, very much live examples of what we're talking about. So how are, it's very hard for small business owners who have already got so much on their plate and really just starting to realize the power of email marketing, and all of a sudden we're throwing voice control marketing at them and what that might look like. So what are you seeing are the trends, and how they're actually dealing with that?
It's a challenge. It's a really big challenge. So the first thing is that it comes down to really deeply understanding the customer's needs. So and understanding what people are searching for you the most right now, and how they could potentially turn into voice commands. So that's for bot type activation and things like that on your website. But then, we've got the other side of things, is that your brand needs to become really strong. Because if I say to Alexa, I'm going to stop talking to Siri because she's going off. If I say to Alexa, hey Alexa, order me a bottle of wine, popular brand is going to be the brand that's going to be shipped to me.
Yep.
So it's really important that your brand recognition starts to become really important, like really highly ranking. If you own your own brand, if you are a manufacturer of your own products.
Yep.
And then the other side of things is around, and it's a really technical it's a really technical landscape. So I'm like giving like really high level just so you can understand kind of the kind of stuff you should be thinking about or aiming for. The other thing in your SEO strategy is to move out of keywords and move into long tail keywords. So that's the, how do I order a cup online, or how do I order the best giftware online, or something like that, and start to move into that really long tail type command keywords instead of just being cup giftware online.
Yeah, and I guess it's, I'm no SEO expert at all, but I do have Kate Toon coming on the podcast shortly, so I'm super, super excited about that. But, I think it's looking at our own habits. When we're searching for something in Google or whatever platform it is, do we write cup online shop? No, we don't. We write it in a sentence. We write it in a question. So
where are the best cups to buy online?
Yes. So if you think about your long tail keywords like that, and maybe even your voice activation searches like that, then that is, I guess, the way to go, because we're actually trying to talk to a human. So we need to talk like a human. But it'd be just interesting to know, how much effort and energy is actually going into what really is a brand new marketing strategy that has sort of come onto the market. And I think that marketing is probably playing catch up.
Yeah, I think, Kate will be able to shed so much more light on this from an SEO perspective. But I think, the thing that people really need to be thinking about in terms of trends is talking to their SEO experts about what the long tail strategy could be for them, as opposed to just that single keyword strategy. And that's going to help to arm them for the future. And that's where a lot of enterprises also playing catch up.
Yeah, just like the small business owners. I hope every small business owner out there is feeling really good about themselves right now, that, we really aren't that far behind the 8 ball at all. Touch points, having that journey with customers, and I know you talk a little bit about touch points and making sure we get them right and we have enough out there to take someone from, I guess, a social fan to a buying customer. Do you see any trends there, or have any tips and tricks there as far as, what we should have out as touch points?
Yeah, look, we run, and Jen, you would have seen this, is that we run something we call the ANCR model, ANCR, acquire, nurture, convert, and retain. So we break down strategies across these 4 touch points, but that's like really high level information.
Yeah.
Then we've got, so the acquisition is like, you need to think about that person's journey. This is the first time that person is going to come in contact with your brand and start to consider you in their journey, which then they need to be nurtured through. So the acquisition could be that they see an ad of yours on TV. It's the first time that they see your brand. They haven't transacted with you. It could be the first time that they see your ad on YouTube. It could be the first time that they see one of your customers share something about you. It could just be a broad match acquisition ad that you have on Facebook. It's certainly not what's happening in your email marketing database, let me tell you, because that's where we come to the nurturing side. So they've come to the website, and then in that nurturing, that nurture, it's about the retargeting people who haven't purchased from us yet. Having a strategy to grab that person's email, because our cost of nurturing reduces massively once we've got that person's email address, and using something like a welcome series, or segmenting them after they've come out of that welcome series. If they've been on your list for 6 months but still haven't purchased, what can we do to activate and stimulate that first purchase, bringing us to conversion? Then how do we support that conversion with a seamless checkout, a really easy buying experience, and using an abandoned cart series? Then we come to that retention. How do we retain that customer to gain their loyalty, or get them to refer other customers into our funnel, moving their friends and family into our acquisition funnel? Really importantly in the retention is getting a review.
Yeah, that was my next question. What a really great lead in.
Right. So the other thing, I just want to finish that one off, is that review, that all-important review, impacts how people are engaging with you and building trust in that acquisition and nurture phase.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, making sure that you have enough touch points in all of that anchor system, is really, really important. So it's just not about acquiring the customer. And I think, hopefully people sort of realize and know that, it's so much more expensive to keep acquiring new ones than what it is to actually show some love and get that person who already loves you to come back one
It
more
is
time.
5 times more in terms of cost
Yep.
to attain a new customer than it is to retain a new one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Retain an existing one.
Yes.
Just want to be clear on that. 5 times more for acquiring a new customer than it is to retain an existing one.
Yeah. And really, if you look at, the customers inside your business, you think if you could get each one of those to come back one more time in 12 months, then you could really shift your business from, from X to Y. It would, be
Massively,
very, very
because
good.
your cost of marketing decreases, your trust in the ecosystem of digital increases, more people are talking about you with love and adoration. I also want to tell you, that kind of, it doesn't happen overnight, and it's not going to happen all the time because, I'm going to swear, Jen, I'm sorry. Opinions are like assholes and everybody has one. So, you've got to be prepared for that stuff too, which we'll talk about now that we're going to jump into reviews.
Yeah, because I know you're such a big advocate for, getting customer feedback and that, but I one of the biggest questions I always get is how do you get customer feedback? And my answer is always very simple. You simply have to ask for it. It's rarely will it just come to you. It's a fantastic client who will actually give you a review without you asking. But do you have any tips and tricks on how you would see that through a marketing sequence or through, just asking for them in different ways?
Yeah, okay. So I think there's 2 portions to reviews. So the first one is around a survey and running at least an annual survey. We recommend it at least being an annual survey, but also having what we call an NPS program. And you've all seen that question. How likely are you to recommend Jen to your friends, family, or colleagues on a scale of 0 to 10? And then understanding and digesting that information and putting that into your future success roadmap. And because underneath that question is, why did you give that answer?
Mm-hmm.
The best and most delicious answers are going to come from the people who are your, what do we call the detractors? Anybody who's answering 6 and below.
Yeah. Okay.
And it might just be like, oh God, they really hate us. But if they've taken their time to give you that information and then filled out that free form that says, why did you give that? Find trends in that. Because those trends that your customers are giving you, that piece of information is stuff that you need to fix in your business as an opportunity to help those 6s then turn into a 7 and an 8. Or if you're really lucky, maybe they'll turn into a 9 and 10 and go, thanks, that was a real bugbear of mine. Now I'm going to recommend you to everybody.
Yeah. So looking at them, as an opportunity, like you just said, I think that is really, sometimes it's hard to take feedback, and sometimes, the customer, I'm just going to put it out there, guys, sometimes the customer is wrong. I know that we weren't taught that, but just on the odd occasion they are. But most of the time there is a lesson or perhaps something we can take away from it. And like you say, if you've got it written on paper, then you can start to see trends developing and improve your business.
That's right. And look, what you want to look for is, that's another one of my tips, Jen, is just don't take it personally. Take a deep breath. That feedback is an opportunity for you to improve. If I'm friends with the guys that run Vinomofo, and one of the things that they always say, and so does Kate from Adore Beauty, she says our best feedback comes from the people that leave us bad reviews.
Yeah.
And it could be, and it's just because that's my opportunity to improve now. Thanks for giving me that gold nugget. I didn't think that was a problem, but it really, really is. And now I get to make a change around a process that is going to help you, customer, in the future to be better. So thank people when they leave you bad reviews, and tell them that you're taking this into tell them that you're taking this forward, and ask them if they've got any ideas. They might be a source of ideas for you. You don't have to idea alone. This is, a really important thing for small businesses. Do not idea alone. Otherwise, you're only stuck here. When I can reach out to all my customers, I can reach out to all of my friends, I can reach out to all of my staff. And so don't idea alone.
Yeah.
But take that deep breath and find this opportunity, find this feedback as an opportunity for you to improve. It's sometimes hard to not take it personally because you're doing your best with the limited amount of time that you have, and you're not a robot. But just don't take it personally. And the best way to not take it personally is to know that you have a process for improvement.
Yeah.
And sometimes people can just be having a bad day, and that can happen too. So again, don't take it personally. Somebody could be having a bad day, and what happened with you could have just been that thing that sent them over the top. So
So I guess if you look at it that way and you think, maybe they are having a bad day, and you go back to them and thank them and ask them again for, maybe a little bit more information or some help or something, you are going to spin them around straight away. They are going to be like, it wasn't about you, it was about them. And straight away they're going to be like, this person genuinely cares. Or sometimes they just get a shock that it's actually been read and a human is contacting them.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Great way to turn a bad review into a good review, or to back into a customer.
Biggest mistake you can make, another tip: do not ignore your reviews. Have a process for responding, from your 1-star reviews to your 5-star reviews. Make sure you have a policy. We've been working on a customer experience project with one of our clients. They're a multi-store retailer, and they came to us originally because they had bad reviews. They said, we've got really bad reviews. What can we do to boost that? Any tips and tricks? I'm like, well, we need to have a process. We need to have a policy. We need to have, and we need to find out what you're doing. One, what's driving these bad reviews, and two, how do we get proactive about good reviews? Because this one's a good one. People are more likely to leave you a bad review than they are to leave you a good one.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a policy for capturing all customers that you deal with, you're just going to hear from them when it's bad. So we have now taken a 2.2-star rating to being a 4.3-star rating in 8 months.
Wow. Tell us the secrets.
Here's the secret. We asked we rolled out, we had a card developed that said, hey, tell me about your experience today, that went out to all customers. That's at a basic level. And then we did a whole bunch of experimentation about how we could get more customers to leave more reviews. But the minute we started asking customers to leave reviews on this one channel that we were getting bad reviews on, because we just thought we'd focus on one channel, boost that, and then we'd replicate it and scale, we started seeing all of these 5-star reviews pop up.
Yeah.
Not only that, because people were being prompted to leave a positive review, helping other customers have a better experience and helping us to make our stores better. Not only that, is that when we did have a problem and somebody did leave a 3-star or a 2-star review, guess what? We had a policy and a process that we could go back to those people and say to them, hey, I'm so sorry. Can you please give me your email address? Let's take it offline so that we can chat about how we can resolve this for you. This isn't our normal procedure. Something's gone wrong. And just be vulnerable. Let them know that something's gone wrong and that you are willing to fix it. Now, you don't have to bend over backwards. And this is the point where you should have, they should have policies in place. And you're not going to be able to make everybody happy as well. But if you do have these things in place, then you can make more people happy than what you're making yesterday. So, we had different canned responses for 1 and 2-star reviews. 3-star reviews had their own, 4-star reviews had their own, 5-star reviews had their own. So that's what we did. We just started asking as part of our post-sales process, hey, thanks for transacting with me today. If you were happy with your experience or if you had any feedback, please take this card and leave us a review. And that was it.
Yeah. So
And that was
you
just
simply
transformative.
you simply ask. And there's two things there's one thing I know about humans, and it's just like we love to have our opinions heard, good, bad, or indifferent. So if you ask someone, they're more likely to go, oh yes, I'd like to have myself heard. I'd like that. And the other thing with reviews, and getting bad feedback, that I think I was taught, very early on, that there's a difference between apologizing and apologizing. So there's a difference between saying, I'm sorry you feel that way, as opposed to I'm sorry, this is my fault type of thing. So sometimes people just want to hear the words I'm sorry or I apologize, but you're not necessarily apologizing and taking the blame. You're simply just apologizing for the way that they feel, whether that is, warranted or not. So I think there's a big difference in, apologizing as well, that, is something worth considering when you're saying sorry with your teeth gritted.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But I think, the important thing about that reviews part is not just asking. So one is asking, but two is giving them something physical so that they have instructions on how to do that, especially depending on your demographic. If you're, one is the reminder, that's the physical thing. And then two, it's that demographic thing. So, you want to step out and really know step 1, step 2, step 3, and just tell them exactly what to do.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So they don't feel lost.
Yes, yep. And they know that they're going to do it right every time. So yes, absolutely. Right. And if you want them to leave, say, a Google review or something like that, put the link in. Don't just, give them nowhere to go. Give them that call to action. Give them the baby step. Right. Click here. That's do right. This. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It has been amazing to have you on the podcast today, Ali. I am so, so thankful, and I know you're super busy, but it's really good to hear, what big business is doing, whilst having a conversation that's very much about small business as well. Is there any other tips or tricks or anything that we haven't covered that you really wanted to, talk to my audience about before we wrap up today?
I think it's understand. I think, the most important thing is bite-sized chunks. Don't wait for perfect, wait for done. Don't take reviews personally. See them as an opportunity to improve. If you do feel like you're taking it personally, just take a deep breath, settle down, and remember that you've listened to this podcast and you can go back over what I've just shared with you to help to make that better. Don't focus on tech for tech's sake. Everybody can sell you tech. Everybody can tell you that this tech is going to give you, this tech's going to increase your sales by 100%. What about the tech that you already have? Mm-hmm. Look there and ask it, could this be doing something that I can't get out of, that I can get out of something else? Do I really need to re-platform? Don't just use tech for tech's sake. Ask your customers what they want and drive your innovation from there, not from technology. Technology should just be your support partner, but it is not the first place to turn.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that little tip of, asking your customers what they would like. I know that I have a retail customer who, was really wanted to get Afterpay or something like that. And she surveyed her customers and her customers were like, we wouldn't use it. So she's like, oh, okay, I didn't expect that. So, sometimes, I said to her, I'm not quite sure whether they would or they wouldn't, but they said that they wouldn't. So she actually went to the trouble of getting her customers' opinions. And so she's not going to go down that road just at the moment.
Great. She could have spent 3 months trying to implement that, and then what for?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Save yourself a lot of time and money.
Yeah. Just by asking. Magic.
Magic. The answer's always no if you don't ask. And sometimes the answer's no when you do ask, which is helpful as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Ali, for all your wisdom today. I think it's been really insightful, and I'm ecstatic to have you on. And hopefully it won't be too long between the times that we get to chat again.
Agree. Thank you so much, Jen. I'm so grateful. And yeah, thanks for having me on. And happy listening, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it.
And Ali, if people wanted to get in contact with you, what's the best way that they can get in contact with you, or the social platforms that you're on?
Yeah, awesome. So, I mean, if you go and find MI Academy, you'll find us on Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and LinkedIn. But you can also go to our website, www.milkit.com.au.
Perfect. All right. Take care, Ali. Speak to you again soon.
Take it easy. Bye.
I hope you really enjoyed that interview. I really enjoyed catching up with Ali yet again. I hope you got some ideas and thoughts for your business around it and learnt that small business is pretty cool, don't you think? I really loved her tips and tricks with customer reviews and, using technology to our best advantage, but also looking at the technology we're currently using and thinking, how can we use it better? To get in contact with Alita, just head to the show notes at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au and look for episode 38. If you've got questions or you've got some comments, I would love to hear from you in the Facebook group Like-Minded Business Owners. If you haven't joined yet, then just go to the show notes or, of course, go to Facebook and search Like-Minded Business Owners. It's another great way to stay on top of what's going on in the world of social media and marketing, not to mention connecting with other like-minded business owners. I'll be back next Thursday, of course, with more marketing know-how and another great discovery. If you're enjoying the podcast, then please don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And for those of you who have left me ratings and reviews lately, hand on heart, thank you ever so much. They just bring joy to my soul. Anyway, guys, that is it for episode 37. I'd love to connect with you on social, so let's get social on social. You'll find me on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, and I would love to connect with you there. But of course, remember, my small business peeps, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
Say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.